Hi, I'm NC. My real name is Nandy. I'm a small-time streamer on Twitch and Kick. I originally started streaming for the purpose that I told myself was to draw people towards God, and that was my purpose. I really just wanted to build a community of God-fearing people. As my streaming grew, I kind of realized that I wasn't going the path that I wanted to. I thank God for the blessing of watching this little community form in front of me, and I really love every single one of my kin. Kin is what I call my community. But I quickly noticed that I wasn't really necessarily going down the path that I originally set on when I began streaming. I started getting carried away with video games, with the community, with kind of what other people wanted rather than what my original intention, what my original purpose was for it. After a lot of prayer, I came to the conclusion that I needed to make changes in the way that I was streaming and the way that I was kind of going about it, the kind of relationship I held with myself as a streamer. In this video, I discussed some changes that I made. This was recorded live on Twitch and Kick. So make sure to go follow my other socials, support what we got going on, join my kin. We're all just trying to get closer to God one step at a time. I love you all. I hope to see you in my streams and enjoy the video. But I feel like this needs to be said. I feel like I'm doing you a disservice if I hold this testimony that I have and I don't share it with anybody. This new process that I'm going on right now, I'm basically splitting up my accounts, right? So I'm gonna have a Kick channel and I'm gonna be streaming on Kick, and I will be streaming more God related things on that channel, because I also feel kind of torn with with everything that's going on in my like real life right now, right? Like I'm seeing God's hand work wonderfully in my life, and I'm not even talking about it as much as I should be while I'm streaming, right? So what does that mean for me? That kind of means that I've been putting up a different image, and that's one thing that I've learned that a lot of people do, that like everybody does kind of. Like Kanye once said it. Now, I'm not paying homage to Kanye. He said we're all actors in a script that wasn't written by us. And he started talking about a little kid. He looks at a coffee table. What does the little kid do? The little kid jumps on the coffee table feeling like Superman. He's above the ground. But then what happens when the parent comes in and yells at them and tells them to get off the coffee table, right? Now they're seeing that coffee table and like they have this preconceived standard of like, I can't climb the coffee table. So that's essentially what happened as we keep growing and keep basically society keeps telling us like what rules to follow, etc., right? So we all naturally end up starting to put up these images, and I feel like a lot of people get lost in the creation of their image. A lot of people start associating the image that they created and say that it's them, but it's not, right? Like it's an image, it's a piece of you, right? And so this is also a great way to put it, is kind of like right now what I'm doing is streaming, right? Like right now what I am doing is creating these accounts, creating these different profiles, right? Where I can pour from me into it, right? And from that, it can grow into something beautiful if God will. The point being is like, it's something separate from me, but it's like a piece of me. It's like an extension of me, right? And so anything that is supposed to be an extension that you start assuming as your identity can very well become like a succubus in your life, can very well become like a negative attachment that you have. Basically, this whole long process, this whole long talk is for me to tell Twitch chat, tell anybody that's watching on Kick as well, like this is basically what's gonna start happening, is that my Twitch is gonna see less of me. It's not that I'm putting gaming to the side, but I'm also gonna be focusing on expanding the amount of content that I put out, because I also realized like, and God told me this yesterday, I want to do this, right? Like I want to do this, but I feel like I'm half-assing it. God sees through secular language. I'm sorry if it offends you, but I was tired of just like this same process, right? And so like I say, bro, I'm putting in the time, I'm putting in the effort, but what am I really doing? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm really just streaming, and that's not how you actually get bigger, right? There needs to be structure. There needs to be organization, right? One of the first things that God did was when he created the earth, when he created everything in it, like what did he do? He first organized it day and night. He first organized it land and sea. He organized the animals by category. Everything needs to be organized in order for the vessel to move, right? And so what I'm doing is organizing myself in a way that is true to myself, that is true to who I really am, and that is true to what I really want to do and what impact I want to provide. This just means for Twitch that they'll be seeing less of NC gaming, right? I'm gonna be starting to split streams more between Kick and Twitch. I will still be playing games for entertainment purposes, and that's also changing too. The games that I play, I feel like I've been giving a wonderful opportunity. It's something that I have really always wanted to do, is stream VR. And I'm setting it up. I got the cable. I got everything right here with me. So I'm finally gonna start streaming VR. That's also gonna be something. So stay tuned if you're here for the gaming NC. Like, stay tuned as well, because there's a lot of greatness coming. But I get it, right? Like, I get it. Like, right now you're gonna be like, why listen to this dude? He's just talking about God. Another dude talking about God. He's a bot. Oh my goodness. NPC behavior. I just want to give y'all my testimony, right? Like, I kind of just want to explain to you why I feel like I have room to talk about God. So this means I'm gonna get pretty personal. Are y'all ready? Let me not flash you guys. Oh my goodness, not that personal. I grew up in a household that was very religious conservative. My family was Jehovah's Witnesses, and half of my family, I'm Hispanic. I have a large family. I think that should be noted. Half of my family went diehard into it, and the other half didn't. And so naturally what that caused was this divide in my family that ever since I was little, I'm kind of just like, just looking at it. And so the ones that are in the religion, they say that it's the others that aren't in the religion's fault for not being as tight as they should be, like as family really should be, as the family nucleus should be. And they say it's because they don't want to serve God. This is in no way, shape, or form. I'm not trying to disrespect any religion. I'm not, like, there's no malicious intent. God has helped me understand, forgive, and also kind of just see it in a different light, and how he kind of views this whole situation, right? I hope that I can, with what I've experienced, bring some of that to the table and maybe help somebody that's going through the same exact thing, right? That I went through. Excuse me. So I grew up in a household that was Jehovah's Witnesses. So naturally they raised me in the standards of how Jehovah's Witnesses are raised. So, like, I grew up and I followed the guidelines that they set, and like their standards and everything like that. But just like everyone, that's kind of, I say this word, okay, but I don't mean any attack towards the religious group or any religious group for that matter, because we're all trying to achieve the same thing. We're all trying to establish a relationship with our Creator, right? I don't mean any malicious intent at all. I feel like that needs to be stated. But what they do in the form that they teach you is kind of like they indoctrinate you into this community, right? And so that you can subconsciously begin to develop this air of, I have the truth, right? Like, I found the truth and it's only me. Anything anybody else says can't be the truth, right? Because it didn't come from like this group. And so I've realized that a lot of major religions nowadays used that tactic. And so I no malicious intent, because everybody means well, except the ones at the top of these that know what they're doing, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So I naturally followed their rules and everything, but I also had this little inner rebellion, this little inner voice inside me that just knew that the way that we're going about this has to be wrong, that just knew that maybe this isn't 100% completely the truth. Nobody can really say that they have the truth 100%, and anybody that does say that they have the truth 100% is more lost than somebody that admits that they don't have the truth 100%. This was one of the revelations that was given to me as well, and that's also something that I had to learn. Like, I know I was placed on this path for a reason that I had to learn it. So naturally, I had this little rebellion growing inside of me, and I got to a point when I was old enough that I started letting myself be led by it. When I had the age, I think I was like 16, 17, I started my first job. I started getting a little bit of freedom, right? I was in high school at the time. God always made sure that my path, like, of rebellion was taken in a safe way, even though I took myself to dark places. He gave me a girlfriend that made sure that I was grounded for a good portion of that time that I was rebelling. And inevitably, she was hurt on my path of rebellion as well. And I understand that we came together for a very specific reason. I've forgiven her and I've forgiven myself, because God has taught me what it is to forgive myself. And he revealed to me slowly that I was the one that was causing all my problems, right? So I've forgiven her. I forgave even my ex-best friend that got with her days after her and I ended. Yeah, that happened. After, like, my burning rage, fueled like by my rebelliousness, kind of like ended up burning me also, I started resorting to running, right? Like, I started just wasting my time, like, to escape my thoughts, basically, because I knew that if I was to sit in a room, I would have to confront my decisions, the consequences of my actions, right? This was the time that I turned to the streets, basically. This was the time that I started smoking. I started smoking an unhealthy amount to the point where in order to kind of like cope with the cost, I had to start dealing it. This was another rabbit hole I went down. The stories that I learned and the things that I saw while dealing also definitely happened for a reason. It holds so much importance to me. I got to see so much about, like, first of all, business and capitalism to the purest form, like to the purest degree. The relationship that people hold with money and the kind of effect that the relationship you hold with money in your mind has on you. I met all kinds of people being a dealer, right? I met great people that are just going through really tough things, and I met people that who their own actions were causing them to go through their own tough things, and it was a self-fulfilling prophecy that they had inside as well. And I even got robbed at gunpoint. So like, and God also walked me out of that one too, and I felt it, and he told me why it happened and everything, but that's for another time. It truly was like a huge learning experience for me that I thank God every day, because he walked me through there for a reason, right? Like, and I understand that it was my actions. I 100% understand that it was my actions that led me to opening that door and going through there and doing things that I really shouldn't have done, like seeing things that I shouldn't have seen. But bottom line, I learned a lot from that, right? Like I learned a lot from that, and he taught me a lot about how I was moving, and why I was still my own enemy, right? So he told me when it was time to start packing all this childish stuff up, and he slowly and kindly revealed it to me, like through my thought process. The more that I would meditate, the more that I would study his word, like he revealed it to me how I was still being my worst enemy, right? And so I ran away. Like I was running away. I ran away, like even physically. Like I moved to go live with my aunt, who stays on an island 2 hours away from me, and I just started like living with her, and that was the lowest point in my life. I say lowest point spiritually, because physically I had the life that everybody chases. I had the life that everybody wants. Like not only did I have the cool car, the drugs, the women, the experience, the money, like I had all of that. But even when I left all of that behind, I went to go live on an island, right? My aunt does pretty well with money. I went to go live on an island where every house on that island is not under $1 million, where the island is wonderful. It's a beach, and it's beautiful, wonderful. And I got 2 good paying jobs while I was there too. And I never got to start those jobs because God called me, right? Because when I was about to start those jobs and I was living there, it was the weekend, and I was supposed to start on Tuesday, and it was Saturday. And I just felt this disturbance. I just felt this disturbance in my spirit. I knew something was wrong. My conscience was bugging me, and I didn't know why. And I did know why, but I was just not really wanting to think about it, you know? It got to a point where I just couldn't anymore, where I just couldn't keep running anymore, right? And so I was sitting on a dock, you know, where like you dock boats and everything. I was sitting on the dock, and it has this kind of like covering over me, and it goes out pretty deep into the water. It's for like several boats to dock at and everything, and it was a private one. And I'm sitting there, and I had a blunt rolled up because I was still in I was phasing away, okay? So and phasing away takes some time, okay? So like that's what was happening. But right before I sparked it, I prayed. I prayed for the first time, like for the first time from my heart in such a long time. I felt the floodgates open. He revealed himself to me. I got a vision of him reaching his hand down to me, and I saw when I looked up at him, like his eyes were just fire. There was flames just coming out of his eyes, right? And so like that shook me to my core. When I tell you that the fear that put into me made me do a complete 180, and it's not just that fear. It was him revealing himself to me, because I've been having second thoughts. I've been like, bro, if you're really real, why am I doing this? Like, why am I going through this? And I just started praying so deeply, and I felt the floodgates open, and I was lifted in spirit, and I saw Jesus handing down like a ball of light in his hand. After that encounter I had with him, I switched 180. I switched that very same day. It's like this curtain was torn in my thoughts and like my reality, right? It's like my thoughts finally aligned with reality. Through my conscience, he would speak to me and show me what I was doing wrong. If anybody's taken shrooms before, they will understand this, because it's that exact voice, right? Not to promote drug usage, okay? Like, I'm not doing any of that. I've just, when I was on the streets, I had my experimentation phases, and I also learned that God gave us certain plants and resources for a reason, right? And we'll cross that bridge when we get there. The church needs to first wake up. Anyways, through my own conscience, he started like connecting the dots and showing me basically what I was doing wrong. And I was doing a lot wrong. And my ego was in the way. It did not let me see what I was really doing wrong, right? And so this whole ego dissolution that I went through it was a very humbling experience, but it had to happen, and I loved every second of it, because I realized I was wrong. I realized I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's something that a lot of people need to grasp the concept of. Just grasp the concept that maybe what you know isn't definite. Grasp the concept that maybe what you know is true, but that there's always more that you can add to that painting, to that picture of knowledge that you have, right? And so I just started changing my ways. God started explaining to me that I'm running away, that I left my parents in a very distraught kind of state. And while it's not entirely my fault, because I expressed to them vividly my discontentness when I fed that rebellious spirit enough, and it had enough confidence to basically like tell them, but not care about their feelings, that like, yo, y'all are crazy. I don't want to live this. I don't want to be like this. Who are you? What are you doing? And then I would leave, and I wouldn't be thinking about the effects that my actions were having on them. But even to this day, I'm still dealing with effects of what my actions did to them. And so I wasn't moving out of love, and I had no love in my heart. I had no love for myself. I had no love for the people around me. I had no love for my family, right? The people that you're supposed to love the most. And so how could God operate in my life if God is love and I was negating him out of it, right? If I was leaving him out of the picture on purpose, right? My ego is in the way. And so he told me when it was time to pack all this childish stuff up, like he just started showing me all the things I was doing wrong, how I abandoned my parents, how I abandoned myself, how I abandoned God, ultimately. Ever since like that revelatory experience that he gave me, that revelation, it's like my rebirth. I fully dedicated myself to becoming a soldier of Christ, carrying the light in essence. I know that this is why I was called, to be a light amidst the darkness all around us right now. I fully accept my position. Like, I fully accept my position, and this is what I'm walking for and towards. It took me a couple of days to realize, these past couple of days, that I have been rejecting that, right? Because I haven't been taking the proper steps to accept it. Immobility is negligence, right? How am I gonna be with my arms crossed and just wait for God to bless me, right? And so I started starting to get closer with him again. I started journaling again. I started doing my morning routine where I wake up, I study outside, I read the word, I journal, I pray, and I meditate. And he gives you so much just for giving yourself that little bit of time, that little bit of discipline, an hour every morning, right? And if you don't have an hour, like, start with 15 minutes, but just by giving yourself that time to be with him, right? That time to be with yourself as well, and that time to just disconnect from the craziness that is this life and this system of things. Because if you wake up and the first thing you do is check your phone, what are you doing? You're immediately plugging yourself in to get hijacked, right? So it's like just that little bit, right? Just that little bit of giving him the time. How is he gonna believe that you want to spend eternity with him if you don't even spend an hour with him today? You know what I'm saying? This is something that he's been teaching me. And as I started kind of smacking myself to get back into that kind of routine, I've started getting closer with him again. And he started kind of showing me what I've been doing wrong in such a kind way, right? I can't even say that it's what I've been doing wrong. It's what I've been lacking in, right? Because this is all supposed to happen, because this is part of my journey, right? And so this is something that's just beautiful, because I just want to share that journey with you guys, right? I want you guys to see how God operates in my life, and hopefully accept him in yours too, if you haven't yet. Because he's there. He's like right at the door. Like he is knocking because he's coming back. Like it's up to us to manifest his second coming. You know what I'm saying? Like the workers of light. We're not going to be looking towards the sky waiting for him to descend. No, our job is to manifest him into this world, like into this realm, like be his body. We are supposed to be his body. Basically that, like, following this and answering my calling just means that there's going to be changes. YouTube, you're going to start seeing a lot more God-fearing content. I mean, you're just going to start seeing a lot of content of it. I haven't even posted on my YouTube up until this. This is my first video that I'm posting. So like, comment, subscribe, you know what I'm saying? On my Twitch, there's changes coming. I'm not going to be playing games as much, right? So I'm not going to be dedicating as much time as I am. So I'm going to update my schedule on Discord to also reflect that adequately. I will use my Kick stream to preach God, and I will use my Twitch stream to show games, and I'll use my YouTube for a combination of the both, and TikTok for clips of both. My hopes is to be basically the hands that do the work upon this earth. Right, my hopes is to basically watch this community of God-fearing people come together and become a beacon of light. That's what I've been called to do, and that's what I'm fully accepting, and that's what I'm gonna do walking forward, which means I need to drop the fear of being judged. That means I need to drop all these subconscious fears, because the devil operates in fear. But the best things in life are right behind that door of fear, are right behind what you're scared most of. And so it took me a lot. It took me a lot to plan this. It took me a lot. Like I was praying up until I started hitting that start streaming button. I need God, right? And I'm turning away from him, even in a sneaky little sly way, by saying I'm trying to help people, but then I don't even mention Yahweh. But then I don't even bring him into the conversation, you know? So it's kind of like, who's lying? It's not God, you know? So yeah. This was kind of just like my little testimony. I hope that you guys were able to enjoy this. I do stream on Kick and Twitch, and I have a Discord that will also be in the description. If you guys want to join, I'm trying to build a community of God-fearing people that I want to build a community of just benefit, you know, of just light. That you can reach out in the community if you need to, and you can find help you need. You can request prayers, and men of God, men that fear God, can pray for you. No man really does understand the power of prayer fully, because God is above our level of understanding. But let me tell you, the way it works is crazy, and how I've seen it in my life is crazy. And New Age calls it manifestation and all this and that. Yeah, because when you get closer with God, he reveals the secrets of the universe to you, right? And what these demons are doing are sharing secrets of the universe, but leaving God out of it, leaving the relationship that you should be having with God out of it, because that's what the devil did to deceive Eve in the first conversation they had. Leave the relationship that she should have with God out of it, and still make her perspective change towards God to make her think that God is holding back from her. So I really appreciate you guys watching. I really appreciate you guys listening. Make sure to join my Discord. Make sure to follow my Twitch, follow my Kick, support what we be doing, because I'm just trying to build a community of like-minded people, right? And this part of me showing y'all who NC really is. Hi, I love y'all. God bless. I'll see y'all in the next one.